Once again, I'm outside because I want a little change of pace. To feel like there's a little bit change of pace. There's a couple things I want to talk about today. I'm going to be really quick because I want these to be really quick. Although we all love rambling about stuff, I don't want to waste your time. I figure like if you're hanging out as friends, I don't want to sit there and take up all the time talking. Once again, if you comment anything, this is a kind of a 24/7 ask me anything, and I'll talk to you honestly, openly about anything. Be vulnerable, and I'll tell you the hard stuff. I'll try to be tactful about some things if it's really tough, and I'll let you know if I don't know the answer. But I'll talk to you about whatever you want to talk about. Let's talk about derivatives. I'm down for that. So, one thing I want to talk about is struggle. Now, this is something I always say in my drama classes or my improv workshops that I teach, is that it's not about winning, it's not about succeeding. And I have a couple demonstrations about that, right? About like as many times as we as improvisers want to win the game or want to win the scene, or even we want our characters to win or win the argument or be the best at whatever our characters are doing. It's boring. Winning is not something we instantly empathize with. We don't empathize with winning. People don't watch a show and go, that person won, that's me, I win. What we empathize with is the struggle to win. And whether we win or not, it's the struggle to winning or not that we empathize with. This is why a lot of movies have like bad endings or dark endings, because it's the struggle to get to that end that we empathize with or we related to. So, oops, I just unbuttoned my shirt by accident. Let me button. But it's that struggle. So a lot of times when you see people make mistakes and everything, it's what creates like this familiarity with them. In fact, I can't remember who said this, but I just read this in an improv book. Oh, it was this Backstage Second City book. And it said that you have to make the character fail at some point. You have to make the character fail, or not do so well, or not be great at something, because that's the moment at which the audience pivots towards the character, the main character. So that struggle is really important, especially in improv shows. So I tell people, like, that's what finding the game is. Like, you hear that concept of finding the game is what are we going to struggle with? What are we going to work towards? Now, struggle means that the actors don't necessarily have to look frantic about it, or the improv performers don't have to look unskilled, or they don't have to look ugly, because effort is ugly, but we still have to struggle to make it happen. There has to be something that we're working against. There has to be a hill that we're climbing. There has to be something that we as players know that we're working with, and we have to work with it as opposed to instantly succeed with it, right? So I think struggle is important. Now that's how it's important on in an improv scene. If you get a chance, I hope so, we get to work together. But if we get a chance to take one of my workshops, I would love to elucidate that to you even further about how the struggle is even it is the show almost to a certain degree. But there's something I want to talk about even outside of like a performance base, but talk about my struggle, because I think what happens is you'll see someone, you'll see them have a certain measure of success. You'll see someone in a position that you would like to be in, or a position you'd like to be closer in. Artistic director of a theater, a certain level of economic wealth, a certain level of prosperity, a certain level of influence or whatever, and you go, that's what I want. Or sometimes people get competitive and go, that person doesn't deserve it, whatever. So I want to show you some of the struggles, or I want to talk to you about some of the struggles that I've been going through in order to make some of the series that I've been producing happen. So this is about the struggle in my online series. Okay. So I have an online series called Happiness. It's on the Improv Boost. It's going very well. I love it. Now, here's some things that I think are making it really successful, and you can apply these to improv scenes if you want to. One of the things I think is making it successful is it's really simple. It's really simple in its concept. I don't have to like edit a bunch of stuff. I don't have to find background music. I don't have to get CGI. I don't have to worry about plot points or anything. It's really simple. I'm getting two people together and having them talk about something that they're really passionate about, but it just has to be specific, right? It can't be music, because music is too broad. And one of the reasons I thought this early on is that in social media, we're so worried about getting nailed for something, even if that other person nailing us is inconsequential to our life and means nothing to us, even if it's some rando troll on the internet that you know is fake and goes, you're stupid, you still don't want to be told that, because it's such negative criticism, right? I learned to put cinnamon in my coffee, and it's awesome. It's so good. It's just a little touch, and it makes it so good. Follow me for more recipes. But like, I forgot what I was saying because I thought it was so funny in saying that. But no, we're worried about what. So we share. So we've learned to share things. That's why it's so negative. It's because we're so critical, because we learned that if we're critical first, if other people jump on board, hey, I was critical to begin with, right? But another thing is the internet's so critical is because we learn to share in very generic terms, in very general terms. We learn to share music, I love music because that's an easily defensible position. There's more people that are on my side with that, and it's harder to argue against liking music. But with specifics, if I were to say, I love Ben Folds' CD, Ben Folds 5 CD, Whatever and Ever Amen, it's one of the best CDs ever because every song on it is amazing. Then it's easy for people to argue against that and to say that's stupid, even if it's a subjective opinion. And that's what happens all the time is we're afraid. And so specifics are easier to attack because they're so specific. There's more details about them. Um, but that's also why the internet, social media seems to be very superficial, is because there's anything, no one's willing to make a stand because of all the people that'll jump all over their case. But then also people aren't specific because it's easier to defend a very generic, broad position. So this happiness series is about picking something specific in a field that you love, something specific. So it's not music. It's David Grohl of the Foo Fighters and how funny he is outside of music. Like he was on the Muppets. He played Animal in the Muppets. Like, and he's so funny and all that kind of stuff. So, because I find then people talk about something they love and they're specific. I learn something usually, and I have every single time, and I get like an energy boost because I feed off it. It's like, oh my gosh, you're excited. I get excited too, right? And so that's the simplicity of it. It's just like just talk about something that you like, something specific that you like. Look, that's a Jay Suko mannerism. He does that a lot because he's just very affirmative. And after he talks, okay, sorry, Jay Suko's awesome. So, so it's very simple in its concept, but it's also very positive in a world where it needs positivity. Like I think that the world right now doesn't need. I don't think the world right now is. There's pockets of it that are frantic and there's pockets of it that are anxious, but I think a lot of it just feels very like the landscape has opened wide and there's a new horizon. Our routines are just starting to develop but had not been developed yet, so people are like aimless right now. So if I can give them this north star or this one of the stars in the sky, it doesn't have to be the north star, but it's the birds. I don't know if you can hear the birds, but they're demanding to be fed because I usually feed them. But it's just one of the stars in this night sky to look at. And so it's just happiness. I just want you to, there's people that are so happy about stuff. And then you might hear someone talk about something that you like books. And then you'll hear them talk about something specific. You're like, oh, I didn't know that. Stephen King's Carrie book. Oh my God, that's amazing. So then there's also connection. So what I try to do is I try to get two people it's two people to talk. That way it's more like a group as opposed to an interview, more like a panel discussion as opposed to like an interview. And then the two people, I try to get them where I think that they have similarities, either by their topic or their personality or who they are, that there's some way that they'll connect so that they feel connected. And now after this whole thing's over, when they improv again, they'll be like, oh, I met this person through David's thing. And now I know someone in another country that does improv. I know this other team that does improv or this other company that does improv. And so now on the other side of this, I've networked people together. So that's happiness. That's the project. So to take it back to the first part of struggle, right? Now, what people don't see, all they see is the end product, right? They don't see me trying to do all these things in the background to make it happen, which is all the time with productions and TV series and online series and stuff like that. So let me tell you a couple things that I've done that failed when doing the happiness thing. I bought a projector, right? I bought a projector, and in the room in which I usually do these shows, I try to have it so I could project an image over my shoulder because I thought like when you see like news reports, there's usually like that square, and when people are talking and the image changes, it's really engaging, really eye-catching. So I wanted to try something like that, and I thought I could do that. Or even for my other series, the Achievements, I could have it behind me and have like the face change as what I'm talking about or whatever. And you can do that in Zoom with virtual backgrounds, but it has been inconsistent with me where it'll cut off, like I'll be a floating head or whatever. But I just thought this projector is a cool idea. I have other ideas I could use it for. And so there's two times in which I try to use it. Okay. The first time was in Jane Morris's Achievements classroom. And I set it up. And like 10 minutes before, what happens is, this is a lot of technical stuff, but I'm hoping you can learn from my struggle. What happens is cameras are bent on capturing light. That's what they do, is they capture light. A projector is bent on projecting the image using light. So what happens is you can see me because the sun's coming down, it's bouncing off my face and it's reflecting. And it's reflecting the camera. And then certain wavelengths, like larger wavelengths are blue, short wavelengths are red, that those colors come together, and that's where you get the colors that you see, right? Now, what happens when a projector does that is it projects an image behind me, and since it's all light, the camera picking it up that projected image has to be super high contrast. It has to have major levels and it has to be a lot darker, but it can't be that much darker. Otherwise it can't project behind me. And then if that's in super high contrast, the actual image can't be super high contrast because then I get lost as an image. And so there's no way on this projector to change the contrast. Or when I do a split screen, because you can do multiple screens on a computer, when I do that, when I change the display settings, it changes the display settings on both, not just one. Tried forever, not just one. Um, and so then everything gets high contrast and really dark, or everything gets bright and it's standard contrast. That's why I failed. It cost me money. That cost me a lot of time. That cost me a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, because I did that right before Jane Morris. And then I tried it again for Happiness with Chris Mead and Paul Quinn. Tried it again. Didn't work. It didn't work. And of course, there's like a time limit. Like, I'm trying to set this up. I'm trying to set this up. And then like 10 minutes before, it's like, I got to decide whether I'm going to go with this or not. And I decided not to, because I figure like the show does not need to be about the bells and whistles. It needs to be about the core of what the show's about. This doesn't need to draw focus. The focus needs to be on the two speakers or Jane Morris. Okay. So that's one point at which I struggled. It cost me money, cost me a lot of time, cost me a lot of anxiety, but you don't see that. You don't see that. You just see Happiness and we're talking and laughing and joking and everything like that. So when people look at that, they go, wow, it really must come easy. Or that is such a simple, stupid concept, or whatever it is. It's not the case. I'm struggling and trying just like you are. I just don't always put my struggles out there, as everyone doesn't put their struggles out there, or you just don't see them from your perspective, right? So here's another thing. In the Jane Morris classroom workshop, I tried 3 times to get her on screen. Twice, it's because Zoom would not connect to Facebook. There was like 3 or 4 days where Zoom changed their interface with how to connect to Facebook, and it's messed a lot of people up. It messed a lot of people up those 3 or 4 days, and that happened to be one of the days. The first time, it just wasn't working, internet connection, whatever. So the third time, it connected finally. But you didn't see me trying to schedule with her, meeting with her, talking to her. It didn't work. You didn't see those 2 previous times where it didn't work. This third time, I was so exacerbated by it not working that I didn't even promote it, because there's 2 reasons why. This is the main reason. I can be superstitious. I totally can be superstitious. So one of my superstitions is if I put too much effort, if I put too much work into it, it's going to fail. So that was the case where I'd been building this up and I made logos and there's going to be a test and everything like this. And I thought maybe that's what it is. I'm putting too much effort, too much focus, too much weight on this. And so I thought I'm just not going to promote it. I'm just going to see if it works. And it worked. Did you notice that? Out of all 3 times, the one time I didn't promote it, it worked. And Jane is an amazing resource in improv. If you ever get the chance to go to the Fanatic Salon or just to talk to her, she is amazing. She is in the history of improv. One of the theaters, she was one of the focal reasons of quite a few people, but she is one of them that started a theater in Second City. She is an amazing person. And so that would meant a lot to me. So I put a lot of effort and a lot of energy and a lot of focus on that. And she's just a really kind person too. So that meant a lot to me. And I thought I need to take a couple steps back. And so my superstition told me to do that. And then it worked, right? So then the superstition is qualified, whatever. But that's one of the main reasons. And so those are the struggles that you don't see. I used to do, so I just, okay, yeah, I'll be vulnerable. I used to do these things called improv interviews where I just find people in the improv community. I try to find really established, great people. And I try to find mid-range people that don't have a lot of fame, popularity yet, because the point of the Improv Boost is to give people more visibility, right? Not to give the people that are like A-list improvisers that are improv famous. I don't need to promote them. They're promoting themselves. They're doing well. I want to promote people that are trying to break that glass ceiling or even lower to get up. Like I'm trying to help people down here, not people up here. I'm trying to help people that have just started, people that have a new company, people have a small company, people that just started a team, people who are just trying to find stage time. That's what the Improv Boost is about, helping those people to create a healthy improv ecosystem, okay? So I started these improv interviews. So that way I could have these upper level improvisers, improv teachers, talking about improv. And then I get like these mid-range improv teachers, improvisers. And if they're grouped together, that maybe it helps push these people up a little bit in their visibility ranks. That was one of my goals with the improv interviews. And then also I learned stuff, right? Oh my gosh, my cats are wrestling and I kind of have to yell at them. Oh, they're weird wrestling. They're so cute. Sorry. But so I tried that and it was going well for a little while. Then I moved. And when I moved, the quality, and you can see them, and it's really sad. I feel shame about it. Because if you look at Paul Valancourt's interview, you can tell by my audio, it's like, whatever. And it's because of my Wi-Fi. Hold on a second. I need to yell. Pride. Pride. My cats wrestle, but one of my cats typically is more dominant and sometimes can be a little mean. But they're brothers. It's not. There's nothing like no blood being shed or anything. You're getting an insight into my world. Hold on a second, Monica. Oh, never mind. They know they're in trouble when they heard my wife's name. Um, to bring it back to Paul Valancourt, his interview, I feel so bad. I honestly feel ashamed of it. I feel embarrassed because not over his interview, but over my ability to produce it because he's awesome. Paul Valancourt is a wonderful, amazing teacher. And he's one person that I have a lot of admiration for because he's an A-level improv teacher. He has no qualms about talking, working with, producing stuff with people who've just started improv. He loves new improvisers. Like he is such a powerhouse and he's such a wealth of knowledge. And I felt so bad that the audio on my side kept on cutting out. And I felt shame over that. I felt like I couldn't give him the platform that I wanted to, so that people could get access to his knowledge, access to his ability. And and so I'm opening up. Like I'm honestly feeling a little bit right now. Um, and so I feel bad because I have such an admiration for him. Imagine like one of your superstars, and they agree to do an interview with you, and then just technically your equipment fails you. Like that's what it was. And so those are struggles. And so I stopped doing those interviews. And then up in addition to that, Facebook stopped doing the side by sides, like the you. So I can't do it anymore. Anyways, I probably could start it up again. Um, but anyways, those are see like I'm kind of thrown off now. Those are struggles that I've had, and those are struggles that you don't see, and then emotionally how I deal with that, and how does that affect the amount of time and effort I put into other projects or future projects or all that kind of stuff. My cat Sydney's coming outside. Sydney. So yeah, so those are struggles. There's some online series I have. Um, Now my wife is outside. Can you rein in the cats? They were fighting, and now Sydney's just kind of randomly caterwauling. Oh, must be. So I have two cats, Pride and Sydney. Pride has like a little kind of stereotypical. They're both black and white, so Pride has like a stereotypical little mask on that you see a lot of cats have, and Sydney has kind of patches over his face. And they're brothers. We adopted them from NKLA, No Kill Los Angeles, which is a in LA, which wonderful organization. Love them. Um, but yeah, so there's struggles that you may not see me do. There's struggles you may not see other people have, and then on top of like just what you might consider your everyday struggles of technical logistics, scheduling, blah, blah, people might have emotional struggles or struggles of learning or like what would you call it? Dyslexia. Gosh, dyslexia, stuff like that. That where it might take them a little extra effort to do what other people might do really easily, right? Um, so I think at a certain level, especially during this time, approach people with empathy more than anything. Use more empathy than you normally would. Use more patience than you normally would, um, because I think we're all in a struggle, and I think that's what makes it relatable. Is we're all in a struggle. Everyone has a struggle that they're going through, and everyone's struggle looks a little differently. And my struggle isn't better than your struggle. Your struggle isn't better than my struggle. But there's emotional struggles. There's struggles that deal with perspective. There's cultural struggles. There's racism. There's all this kind of stuff going on in the world. Uh, Sexism. Um, that it's weird because in psychology, you feel like if you're not successful, there's external forces. It's because of the way society is. It's because of the way the infrastructure. And if someone else isn't successful, you typically go, well, they didn't earn it. It's internal for them. Their internal stakes, internal reasons. And I think a lot of times the answer is probably somewhere in the middle for both. Real like it's probably internal, external, both rely on you. But we typically do that. We polarize it to that degree. So all I have to say is just realize people have their own internal struggles that they might not have shared or might not be willing to share or whatever. And then everyone is not an icon of something, right? So you might know someone through improv, like Paul Valancourt's an awesome improv teacher, but he's not just improv teacher. He's also a father. He's also in the sci-fi. He's also in the comic books and da, 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 da. That we're all not just defined by one identity, right? Which is very typical in America. In America, we typically pick, this is my identity. I'm a workout. I'm a fitness nut, and that's all we want to be identified for because that's our brand. How we're going to make money is that people instantly link us to being a fitness nut, right? But that we all have more things. So struggle here doesn't mean that later on they don't want to go work in their garden or they don't want to just call their grandma to say hi or whatever. Like they're full people. So try to use empathy with people as much as you can. I'll do the same. I promise to do the same. And I'll talk to you later. I hope you have a great day. And I hope your struggles lead to a lot of successes. And if nothing else, something that I've learned in the struggle is there's knowledge in the struggle. So like when I failed at doing the projector screen, I've learned like how much distance I need from the projector. I've learned how the projector looks on camera. I've learned all these different things so that if I ever try to do a similar project or work with another company on a similar project, I have that knowledge within me. Okay. So if your struggle doesn't lead to the success you're looking for, I hope it leads to a lot of knowledge that will lead to a future success. That is a pure, honest hope for you. Okay. Bye, everybody.